All right, friends, welcome back to part two. Couldn't see my face before, now you can. Tried allowing you to see my face before, but hey, whatever. I also skipped some slides. I don't know how that happened, but hey, for better or for worse, let's move on. So let's talk a little bit about in-game sign stealing and out-of-game sign stealing. So we're going to go back to our friend Pete Thamel's story here from ESPN, where it says the NCAA, which said it would not comment on the investigation, does not have rules specifically against stealing signs, but does prohibit in-person advanced scouting of opponents and has bylaws prohibiting unsportsmanlike activities. A source confirmed to ESPN that in-person scouting is the focus of the NCAA investigation. If true, the Wolverines would have violated NCAA bylaw 11.6.1, which states off-campus in-person scouting of future opponents in the same season is prohibited. So, in-game sign stealing, okay. Out-of-game sign stealing, not okay. Not hard to understand, right, friends? All right, let's see if we can go to the next slide. So, here's the difference. All right, I'm going to tell you a little story. Basically, as you can see, my friend in the Kansas City Royals hat is taking his hat off. I've played thousands of baseball games in my life, and one game that I remember extremely well is one where we were playing a team where every time, I was the first baseman, of course, every time the player or every time somebody got on base for that team, their coach would take his hat off, and guess what happened every time their coach took his hat off? The player would steal. So we were like, that was interesting. I wonder if that's their sign. Did it again, and we knew exactly what their steal sign was. So every single time, since the third time he took off his hat, everybody on the team knew exactly what it was. Everybody on the team yelled, "Steal!" Every single time he put his hat off. He even tried to be slick about it. We still knew he was stealing. In the end, the whole point of the story is, if you're stupid enough to make your sign so obvious that a team can steal them in game, then that's the team who's putting out the sign's problem. So dude makes it his steal sign dumb enough that we can figure it out in 2 seconds. That's his fault, not our fault for stealing it. But if you are going to other games to steal the signs of your opponent because they're not making it obvious enough for you to steal signs during the game, then that's the team who's trying to steal the signs problem. Okay? A lot of these teams go through elaborate ways to make sure that you can't steal signs. Okay? You can't steal them during the game. Maybe you can. If you can, it's going to take you a while to figure it out probably because they're constantly changing them. They're changing them. They're changing who's signaling them. They're changing what the signals are. They're changing them by game. They're changing them by half. They're changing them by quarter. They're constantly changing them. It's really hard for you to do. Some people can still do it, but it's really hard to do in game because people aren't out there making it obvious. They're not doing this to tell you that it's a pass. Okay? They're doing crazy, difficult things to make sure that you can't figure it out. But if you're going out and you're recording what they're doing the game before and then studying it along with the game film to make sure that you know exactly what they're doing, that's not a them problem. That is a you problem. That's why this is the spirit and intent of the rules, period. And that's why it is your Michigan's problem, not any other team that Michigan ever played that they stole signals from problem. So what was Michigan doing? Well, they were doing both, as we've outlined many times, and you have to do one with the other, and you have to do them together, and I proved it when I talked about this slide that we talked about. All right? We talked about this. So here's the big deal. All right? Let me tell you another quick story. In high school, my job was to guard the best player that was a wide receiver for every single team that I ever played in high school. So the team that we played had a cool little play where they would put their wide receiver in as a tight end, okay? So our defensive coordinator knew the team that we were playing like the back of his hand. He went to that school. He lived in that town his whole life. He knows their coaches. He knows everything about them. He somehow got game film of all kinds of games, and we watched at least 3 games where this kid, for one play, would line up as a tight end. And every single time in those 3 games, when he would line up at a tight end, he would do one thing, which is a tight end reverse, as you see in that left play there. So he's not going straight. He's not going forward. He's going across to the left, and he's running with the ball to the left, and they got a big play out of it every single time. All right? So as you can see below the play on the left, when they lined up in this formation, did they run this play? Oh, sorry, I messed that up. So, but when we played them, guess what they did? So I'm ready. I'm way over here. You know, this is my guy. I've guarded him all one-on-one all game, every game that we ever played him in. He's always lined up over here. I'm always lined up over here. He's lined up over here. I'm always lined up here. Well, this is the one play that we had practiced for and knew exactly what was going to happen, where he lined up there. And me, I'm kind of playing like in the middle. I'm waiting for him to move one way or the other. And once he started moving around, I was going to go with him, and I was going to be kind of like the safety guy, because everybody on my team is yelling reverse, 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 reverse. We all know it's going to be reverse. We all know he's going to get this ball and he's going to go this way with it. And then I'm just going to kind of follow him. And if he gets by everybody, then I'm going to get him. All right. But is that what he did? No, he didn't do that. He did not do that. He did this. I was here and he did this. Guess what happened? They scored a play. Guess what they knew? They knew that we had film of them doing that play over and over and over again, and him doing this over and over and over again. And they knew that we would see that, and we would know that, and we would prepare for it. And the number one best counter you could possibly do for that was exactly what they did, and they were going to score off a touchdown off of it. And they did, because I was here, not here. If I was here, they would instantly wonder, are they going to our practices? Is there somebody on our team who's telling their defensive coordinator that lives 5 feet from the school what our secret play was for this game? Are they filming practices? Have they, because they've never ran that in a game before. So kind of what I wrote down here, right? When they lined up in this formation, did they run this play? No, they tricked us and they scored a touchdown off of it. Would Michigan have been tricked by this play? No. See, we didn't know their language. If we would have known their language, we would have been able to come up. I would have been able to come up here because I would have known that he was running a streak, because we would have known their signal for tight end streak. Okay. We would have been, hey, he's lining up in this spot. They didn't do the signal for tight end reverse. They did the signal for tight end streak. So we better tell Nathan to play a deep safety right over the top of him and not whatever the heck he's doing, anticipating him to run around that way. But this is the difference. This is the difference. Michigan didn't do this, what we're talking about, what my team did, what every other team was supposed to do, unless you somehow, if a team is trying to steal them in game and you've never seen the sign for tight end streak before, and you see that sign, you're going to be like, what was that? But because Michigan would have came to this game knowing exactly what their signals and signs were, every single one of them, then Michigan would have said, well, they're not running the reverse, they're running the streak. So let's get somebody back there to guard that. And the coaches would have been tipped off, right? Because like I said, and the team I was playing against would have instantly known something was up. That wouldn't have been good for anybody. All right, but don't take my word for it. Let's ask James Franklin. He has to play Michigan every single year. There you go. Exactamundo. So imagine a world where Big Ten coach after Big Ten coach starts seeing this same thing. It's not just James Franklin that's seeing it, it's other Big Ten coaches that are seeing it. So that's exactly what happened. I already outlined them. So we have Big Ten coaches saying that this is worse than both the Astros and the Patriots. It's both the use of technology for a competitive advantage, and there's allegation that they are filming prior games, not just in-game. If it was just an in-game situation, that's different. Going and filming somewhere you're not supposed to be, it's illegal. It's too much of an advantage. Which is why it's illegal. Crazy how that works. And these coaches just weren't going to let this happen into perpetuity, right? They're going to be talking about it. They're going to be talking to Stallions and telling him what he's doing is effed up. They're going to be saying, they're going to be talking to each other and saying, hey, they're doing this. And that's exactly what was happening. We've already talked about that in part 1. So it was an open secret in the Big Ten coaching for too long, and something had to give in Big Ten coaching circles. So either way, this is a month-long situation that dates back to at least last season. News of the sign stealing spread enough that multiple Michigan opponents this season dropped its signals and used wristbands. As soon as we flashed it, he knew it right away. I mean, they know their signal. So they know their signs. They're reading their signals. They know they speak their language. On and on and on. It's not the normal thing. So I want to wrap it all up. And I encourage everybody to watch this video, this YouTube video, college football coaches' thoughts on Michigan signs scandal. So this guy, the film guy, he has a channel and he brought in some college football coaches and he started talking about this deal and he started asking them questions and they all agreed with everything that he said. So College Football Nerds obviously put out a tweet that says, not enough people have seen this clip or the full video. Obviously, I'm going to show you like a minute clip, which kind of takes the video and puts it all together into a way shorter version, but I encourage you to watch the whole thing if you can. What players and coaches are saying publicly are, oh, you still have to stop them. You still have to stop the play, just like back to Deion Sanders, right? It's different from what they're doing to say behind closed doors. So 2 things on people who say you still have to stop the play. Number 1, Brooks. Brooks is the film guy. He has a wonderful point about play action. And number 2, if it's not an advantage, you wouldn't be doing it. Michigan went through a whole heck of a lot of stuff. I mean, they're trying to watch Georgia and Ohio State. They're trying to watch 8 Ohio State games. They've been to every single Big Ten stadium. I mean, this is as elaborate as it gets. Okay? It is a lot easier to stop a play when you never guess wrong and get caught in a bad run blitz. So this is for everybody who says anything against what is happening here. Check this out. Hopefully one day we'll be able to see this. I might want to turn on some volume for you. A freaking men. Goodbye, friends.